Okay, so today I want to talk with you quickly about the remaining top 3 questions that we had that was sent to us offline when we were out of town. And I'm going to talk about these really quick. I'm going to put them all together instead of making 3 separate videos. And so, first of all, the first question that we got, which we get a lot actually, is if your baby has an HIE diagnosis, in other words, a hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, brain injury at birth, will they automatically develop CP or cerebral palsy? That's a good question, and that is a legitimate concern. The short answer is that no, not all babies that will have an HIE diagnosis will go on and automatically develop a cerebral palsy diagnosis. And it's going to depend on where you find your literature or depending on the study. But in general, about 60% of HIE babies will go on and suffer a serious disability, and in addition to that, also death. So usually these first few months or these first few years are going to be critical as it pertains to how your baby is going to develop. And remember, when we're talking about cerebral palsy, that is essentially a movement. It's a movement disorder, and it is, if I'm not mistaken, it's the #1 movement disorder across the world. So cerebral palsy is a legitimate concern, but bringing it back to an HIE diagnosis at birth, that does not necessarily mean that just because your baby has an HIE diagnosis that they are going to automatically have a CP diagnosis subsequent. The second thing is going to deal with nuchal cord. In other words, if your baby has a nuchal cord, does that automatically mean that they are going to go on and have a brain injury? So for those who are new to this, nuchal cord is essentially a medical word for the umbilical cord being wrapped around your baby's neck. And nuchal cord is actually fairly common. So it's going to depend on the literature that you look at, but around 30%, maybe give or take, of babies when they're born, full term, will have nuchal cord. The issue with nuchal cord is it's not necessarily just the cord being wrapped around the neck. What the issues can be is if there is cord compression, if the umbilical cord gets compressed during this process. So this could be when the baby, you could have the umbilical cord wrapped around the baby's neck, and as the baby is, moving through, specifically, past on the second stage of labor, when we're at the second stage, baby's coming down the birth canal. If the cord is wrapped around the neck and the cord is tight and it gets compressed, then that compression is what can cause the baby to have a reduction or a cutoff in oxygenated blood, which can lead to a traumatic brain injury like HIE. So if your baby has a nuchal cord, that does not necessarily, though, mean that they are automatically going to have a traumatic brain injury. It's not the cord itself just being wrapped around, it's whether the cord is compressed and tight and compressed around the neck. So that's going to be that for nuchal cord. And third and finally, which gets to us, if your baby has an HIE diagnosis and you have questions as to the cause of it, does it cost to talk with me about your baby story? The short answer to that is no. It does not cost you anything to get your cell phone, give me a call, or talk to me through DM about your baby story, especially if you have questions as to was this genetic? Did genetics cause this? Was it developmental? Or was it medical malpractice that caused your baby's injury? And so, like I said, it does not cost you anything to talk with me or my office or my co-counsel and partner, Renee, about these types of issues. If you have more questions, maybe you're watching this video today because your baby does have an HIE diagnosis and you would like to find answers as to the cause of it, there is a telephone number down below. What I invite you to do is to go ahead and get your phone and get your cell and give me a call. Like I said in the video, I talk with families like yours all the time about these types of issues. It doesn't cost you anything to talk with me initially about your baby story. When you contact my office, talk to my secretary, make sure you get on our calendar, pick a good date and a time for you so we can know when to return your telephone call, when to reach back out to you. Number two, Make sure that you leave my office a good email address, an email address that you frequently check, because sometimes we have to reach out through email, and so it's good to be able to get in contact with you with an email account that you frequently check. And finally, before I get out of here, I practice law here in the state of Maryland, and I know from time to time I have individuals who will contact me in my office. They're in the United States, but they're not in Maryland. If that's you, just understand that we have to use what we call co-counsel or local counsel if you are not here in the state of Maryland. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law here in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group, LLC. Talk with you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.